In this video, I'm going to give you some location ideas for where to do your boudoir photo shoot. There is a link in the description. I encourage you to go check that out. There's photos in there of the different locations that I'm going to mention here. Honestly, I wish I could make this video better for you, but if I put any of the boudoir photos here in this video, YouTube will probably take it down. So if you want to see the photos that correspond with the location, I really encourage you to go click the link in the description. So for most of my clients here in the Bay Area, most of them choose to do their boudoir sessions at their homes. Most homes are a really good choice. You're usually really comfortable there. All your lingerie is there. You know, you don't have to pack anything to go to your session. I actually bring everything to you. So it's actually, most of my clients find it a lot easier and more relaxing. Some homes are just straight up not going to be a good choice. You know, maybe your house doesn't, you know, it's not furnished very nicely, or you share the space with others and you want to do it in a more private area or what have you. It's better off if you just rent or even borrow a location. It doesn't have to cost you money. A lot of my client sessions are actually in borrowed locations. They have a friend who has a vacation house, whatever, you know. So that's all. Just because you can't do it in your house doesn't mean it has to cost you more money. However, if you like some of the photos in my gallery, some of them are in some pretty cool, fancy locations, and you might want to rent one of those for your boudoir session. So if you like the way any of my photos look, I would really encourage you to check, again, that link in the description, because there's a list of all of my favorite hotel rooms and some of my favorite Airbnbs in the area. Arguably, my favorite hotel rental is the Ledson Hotel in Sonoma, California. It's literally right up the street from me, is one of the reasons I like it. But it's also a very elegantly decorated room. And even if I had to drive an hour to go to that place, I probably would, because the styling is that nice in there. And it's probably by far the most rented location that my clients do their sessions at. So if you like the look of that place, that's a really solid choice. Another really high-end luxury place, if you want that kind of a look, that I like here in the Northern Bay Area, is called 27 North in Healdsburg. It's got some really beautifully styled rooms. Again, very nice choice. Another cool location is called the Mountain Terrace. It's in the mountains above Sonoma. You have access to some vineyards there if you like the idea of sunset vineyard shots with really, really amazing vistas of the Sonoma Valley. That would be another good local one to check out. Those are kind of my top three favorite hotels here in the area. There are some rather spectacular hotels that I didn't mention. So if you go through and look at those and they're not quite your flavor, let me know what your style, you know, what kind of style you're looking for, or let me know which photo in my gallery you really like, and I can kind of try and I can let you know where that was photographed and stuff, or try and find a place that is more in line with what you want. If you don't really like the idea of a hotel room, something that's kind of a little bit in the same vein, but not really, is Airbnbs. Airbnbs are either really awesome or they are really terrible. You can really rent everything in between. One of the nicest locations I ever photographed at was a high-end Airbnb. I don't know what you would actually call it, but it was like a high-end rental on a compound, and it had a pool and 7 houses and a movie theater and a wine cave and just, you know, fountains out front and the whole thing, you know. So like there's that, and then everything from like somebody's garage that they're renting out. So, you know, if you can really find some really cool locations on there, and I don't tend to list them in the link that I was telling you about. And the reason for that is because Airbnbs are here today and gone tomorrow, and it's really hard to maintain that list. So if you are discouraged by the hotels, or you just don't like the whole idea of going to a hotel or something like that, even as nice as those hotels are, you can check out the Airbnbs, and you can see, sometimes you can get like a whole house. Maybe it's got outdoor property if you want outdoor photos. So there's a lot of really unique opportunity, and if you want something unique, it's a really good place to explore. And if you want to go and explore that, and then send me like your top 3 Airbnbs, I can let you know my opinion of what I think is going to photograph well. So the other really popular location is outdoors. And for some women, they want to have their photos taken at the coast somewhere, maybe in the redwoods or in a field or something like that. For those kinds of things, I really encourage you to find some private property. So if you know somebody that has property, or if you have property, that's the best way to go. That way you're not like doing it in public somewhere, that's frowned upon, or so to speak. If you want your boudoir photos captured outside, Airbnbs are a pretty good place to look, as I said before, because some properties you can find have a little bit of land on them. And some of them are like, they can be out a little ways in the woods a little bit, and can be quite private. The Mountain Terrace, one of the hotels that I mentioned earlier in the video, that's technically considered a hotel, and it's got some outdoor opportunity around the building there. But again, it's always best if you know somebody who has some property, or you have some yourself, for the most privacy. So the last thing I want to cover is your home. And if your home ends up being one of those spaces that's kind of borderline, I'm going to give you a few tips that are really inexpensive that are going to have the highest impact. So you could invest a little bit in your space rather than renting a hotel room, and up the quality of your boudoir photos at the same time. First thing that I would do is I would invest in your windows. Shears and drapes are really awesome. Their windows are the best natural light source in your house. So if you have modifiers on the window, curtains where you can kind of block off parts of the window, or shears that filter the incoming light and kind of soften it, those are really good things, and they add texture to the photos. So invest in your windows is probably my #1 tip. That's where your money is going to go the furthest. Another really high impact idea is to stock up on candles, like many candles. Even if your room is fairly boring, you could buy 20 candles and light those up in the background, and all of a sudden you got a pretty interesting background. Anything that kind of lights up can add visual interest to the space, even a really boring space. So candles are a really good investment. Sometimes some corner lamps and stuff like that can really be a good addition. I had one girl who did like string lights, but in paper mache into a tree on her wall. That was really cool. Another really common kind of Pinteresty hack is to get like a curtain rod and put that above your bed, and then you can have the string lights kind of coming down, and that can add a lot of visual interest to the photos in your bedroom. So that's a pretty good idea also. Another really cheap, high impact thing that you can invest in for your space is houseplants. I would do this after you dress up your windows, after you get the candles or any kind of corner lamps or light up things to kind of dress up your space. But these are really high impact. They again live around the windows, which kind of makes that space a little bit more interesting. They add texture and life, and they're just a really good, cheap, high impact thing that you can do. Another really neat idea, and this pertains to anywhere. This doesn't have to be just your home, but if you're doing your session in your home, you could do this. If you're doing it at a hotel room, you could do this. If you're doing your photos for your husband, he could do this. Run out and get a bouquet of your favorite flowers for your photo shoot. It's a really nice touch to put into the background, having your favorite flowers there. And you can actually pull the flowers out, and you can use them in the poses and the photos, and kind of incorporate. They become a prop for the photo shoot. So that's also another really good place to kind of invest in the space if I'm going to stretch a little bit. All right, so you might have been watching this and you're like, this is much more confusing than just a boudoir photo shoot at a studio. I don't know what to do. I can't afford all these places. My home isn't the right place, blah, blah, blah. If you have a little bit of motivation, you will figure this out, I promise. I've had a lot of budget clients in the past that didn't have a budget for a location, and they didn't like their house. And let me just give you a few creative ideas that they came up with that were amazing. I photographed one girl in a barn, and it was incredible. The barn had, those big doors on it, so it just had all these like amazing lighting opportunities, and it had a very country kind of a style to it, which she really liked. Another creative location idea, I photographed one woman at her work. She knew that nobody was going to be there that day, and her work was in a kind of like a Victorian building that she would rent a room out of, and so she did it there in her space. And it was incredible because her space was just incredibly eclectically furnished, and it was wonderful. I had another woman, and she did not have a large budget for her session. She didn't feel like her house was a good location, but she did her photo shoot on a yacht. And it wasn't because she owned a yacht. Her husband didn't own a yacht. Nobody in her family owned a yacht. It was her father was a yacht mechanic and asked for a favor, and it worked out. It was amazing. I'll give you another story. Another woman, same thing, couldn't afford a rented location. Her house was not a good place for a photo shoot, and so she asked her boss, or her husband's boss, if she could use her house, and they had that kind of relationship where that was okay. So sometimes just asking a friend or a family member, hey, can I like borrow your house or something like that, you can really get some amazing opportunity that way and just save yourself a whole bunch of money. So that's a really good hack to save some money on your photo shoot also. So anyway, that's it. That's all I got for you guys on this one. I hope that helps. If you still feel like you're lost or you don't know where to do your session, go ahead and comment below. I'll do my best to answer all the questions. Like and subscribe if you like this, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.